maybe they were convicted of very serious crimes.
I'll read it.
The penalty.
I mean,
right?
I'll read it. Sex offenders, homicide,
right,
kidnapping, murder in the first degree, battery, larceny, cocaine possession, murder, robbery, DUI, child sex abuse, and sex assault on someone with a mental illness. The Sudan is too good for these people. And I'm not sure any other country would take them.
But what about their home country?
I'm not sure they'll take them. Would you take that person back?
How do you know that?
Well, one of them came from Cuba.
No.
I have to say,
how do you know that?
I don't care what we do with them. These are heinous, violent criminals, and they do not need to be here. That's all I know.
That's Republican Scott Jennings reminding a panel of CNN crash test dummies that deporting violent criminals who enter the country illegally isn't cruel, it's common sense. Welcome to Nerk News, I'm Nerkish, and it looks like CNN's latest meltdown proves one thing. They'll defend anything if it means opposing Trump. Because when real South African refugees flee actual persecution, CNN nitpicks every word to downplay it. But when Trump deports violent illegal aliens with murder and assault charges, suddenly they care about human rights. Which proves that the only thing the media really cares about is narrative control. Here's Jennings trying to stay sane amid this liberal insanity.
Look, you guys are so triggered over 59 people.
No, I'm not.
After we left 20 million people in the country, I don't know why you're so triggered.
Haven't even brought up the people, the white people that Trump picked out because they were white and told them they could come to the country.
How much racial killing are you going to condone? The concern is that there are white farmers who have had violence committed against them, and they're being threatened. They're being threatened every single day. There's 59 people,
hold on a second.
And you're triggered about 59 people,
and
I don't know why.
I haven't mentioned anything about 59
to
people.
Substantiate
Why are you only concerned about white people?
I'm only concerned about this story because these 59 people asked for status, they're getting status, and now everybody's freaking out about it.
Farmers do not want
What do you
to
think
leave.
the phrase "kill the white farmers" means?
Yeah, that's a phrase that the ANC, that was a phrase that, was against the anti-apartheid movement. But the ANC, who's ruling the government, the president's government, has disavowed that phrase, has disavowed it in songs, and there's no evidence that white people are being targeted. And the majority of Afrikaners do not want to leave.
They're not a part of the government, Scott. Right. You're taking a fringe movement and you're trying to make it a characteristic.
So it is the height of racism.
It
is the height of racism to say
reason?
that white people have to be exempted from all violence in any society. And that is what is being said here. If we cannot say, there is no white genocide happening, there is no farm genocide happening, and the argument is some white people have been killed, even though 27,000 murders happened in that country. What are we saying? If anybody of one racial group is murdered, then that constitutes a refugee status for that particular group.
When the president has also ended the refugee program for all other people.
It's impressive how fast the left can turn logic into a shell game. I mean, Jennings is absolutely right. The same media that's obsessed with fringe groups and manufactured constitutional crises in America suddenly doesn't care about real oppression elsewhere. And it's rich, because these are the same people constantly pushing America to take center stage globally until we actually take charge. Then it's how dare you deport criminals. Here's Jennings trying to unpack the left's doublespeak on what oppression even means.
Whether you call it a genocide or not, the facts are white farmers in South Africa have been murdered. A lot of people have tried to cover this up. A lot of people in, I think, media in the United States have tried to cover it up. Obviously, the South African government doesn't want to talk about it, so it was kind of a boss move for Donald Trump to roll that television in there today. And I think even the agriculture minister in the Oval Office confirmed that these people are, in fact, being murdered. So my question is, if it's not a genocide today, how many do we want to let get murdered so that people around here can be satisfied? Okay, now it's a genocide. Let's let a few more. I don't understand. We're talking about 50-something people they were trying to let in, and everybody's losing their mind after we let in 20 million illegal immigrants over the last several years. The president is trying to prevent genocide from happening any further to these people. They are clearly being discriminated against. Some have been murdered. This was an interesting spectacle in the Oval Office today, but it had to happen because I don't think anybody was telling the truth about it.
This is just like every semantic language game the left plays. Suddenly, it's all about what kind of oppression South African farmers face, as if that changes reality. Meanwhile, these same people spent the last decade soft-pedaling leftist academic garbage like microaggressions and implicit bias, equating words with violence, But now physical threats don't count unless it helps their narrative. You know, this isn't humanitarianism, it's a political script, and they're sticking to it. Here's Jennings pointing out that they're actually more worried about protecting violent criminals than their victims.
Okay,
But they're
send them
not
back to
going
where
back
they're
to where
going.
they came from. And it's like, you know, Guantanamo on a global scale. Like, we're sending people off to places we don't know what's going to happen to them. And in fact, it is very likely, as you said, that some harm could come to them. One of the people who were sent to South Sudan, in the report that I read, was from Myanmar, whole other continent, 4,000 miles away. Does he speak the language? Can he access any sort part of their judicial system? Can his family ever contact him or visit him? This is kind of like an orchestration of cruelty as a deterrent, but I don't think that we should be in the business of creating,
of deterring,
I'll finish if you let me, of creating cruelty as a country's policy. And that is what we're doing.
But Tara, let me just ask Tara this.
Would you say that the victims of their crimes would say they were cruel?
This reminds me of, I mean, a big question with Trump is optics versus policy, and I do think that they intentionally create these moments,
of course,
in order to have these conversations be aired out, so that Scott can come on here and say, well, don't you want to, you guys want to be soft on the murderers, but it is a question of what the law allows them to do in this situation and what recourse these people might have.
Right. No, I mean, they're absolutely breaking the law in the name of good politics, because like what Scott just said is it's a strong point that a lot of people are going to go home with and say, I don't want someone living next to me that's a rapist, child molester, this, that, and they don't care where they go. Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of people in this country just believe in the death penalty to anybody at any point. So it's like Trump is speaking to his people in the language that they understand. And so while it's something that really agitates the left, it works for his base.
You know, the CNN panel is more concerned about what might happen to violent criminals being deported than they are about protecting American citizens. Jennings has a point. They're always on the wrong side of these 80-20 issues. They'll downplay actual refugees from South Africa and throw a pity party for criminals with felony convictions who enter the US illegally. And of course, they whine that America's being too aggressive and problematic because it's all part of their America Last agenda. But let me know what you think. Why is CNN more outraged about deporting violent criminals than about helping actual refugees fleeing real persecution? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. That stuff really does help us out. Until then, this has been Nerk News. Thanks for watching. Bye!